At the age of 5, I got shot. I'm the shortest that ever played the game in the NBA. You look at whatever your weakness is, you got to try to turn it into a strength. Steph was very young, about 5 at the time, and he came in the locker room. I gave him like a little airplane ride. We had no idea he was going to be the kid that he is today. We can't escape anything that goes on with life. We're not immune to problems, drama, or trauma, or tragedy. Anything is possible. Keep playing. Keep playing. Don't settle for what someone thinks that you should be doing. Hi, my name is Tyrone Muggsy Bogues. Actually, my name is Tyrone Curtis Bogues, better known as Muggsy Bogues. I'm a former basketball player. I played in the NBA, and I'm the shortest that ever played the game in the NBA. I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland. Now resonate in Charlotte, North Carolina. Growing up in the city of Baltimore was challenging. As a kid, it was a lot of drug-infested areas in our neighborhood, a lot of shooting, a lot of violence. Unfortunately for me, at the age of 5, I got shot. Being outside, being at the wrong place at the wrong time. My mom and dad was going crazy, not knowing that I was outside, and then knowing that, I was one of the kids laying out there with a couple buckshots all over his body was very frightening and scary for them as well as myself. Things can happen once you go outside your door. And for me, I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. A fight broke out. They bust the old man Chester's window. He decided to come outside and wreak havoc, and so to speak, in terms of take out some frustration. So he went in this shed and grabbed his double-barrel shotgun and just started firing into the crowd amongst all these kids. And it's like I said, unfortunately, I was one of the kids that got hit. Well, the projects is low-income housing. It's more predicated to a housing authority. You have high-rise buildings and apartments stacked on top of one another, as well as low-rise apartments. And that's the way, low-income families, live. And that's how we was able to, that was the atmosphere that we grew up in. We didn't know anything other than that, because we didn't experience anything outside of it, besides what you saw on TV. But it was our life. It was a man of growing up. I mean, no one thought they have a life expectancy past 20, and which was very strange, knowing that was the case. But that was the mindset back then, because we had a lot of guys at a young age dying, mainly because, they wanted that fast money. They wanted to get into that world a lot sooner, and they wanted to, possibly take care of their family, as well as want something good to try to provide for their household. So, people did all sorts of things in terms of trying to make ends meet. But, that was the neighborhood and the atmosphere that we grew up in. Well, luckily that we had a game called basketball and sports. Sports was really a mechanism that kept us really where it gave us a safe haven place to really feel comfortable at. Football, baseball, basketball, ran track. I was a wrestler. We had a lot of sports take place in the neighborhood. We had a lot of projects, challenges against one another. That was the competition. Lafayette against Latrobe, against Madison, against Cherry Hill. So you had different neighborhoods, competing against one another. And we had all sorts of sports. So that was a way of keeping us, off the streets, keeping our mind, active in other areas, as opposed to thinking about, hey, it's time to try to, go over there and get a few of those quick dollars. But sports was a place where it really kept a lot of kids safe. At that time, I had no inkling or no idea that, I wanted to pursue this as a career. It was just a hobby. It was just something that I wanted to do. But unfortunately for me, being small and trying to play a sport that didn't know at the time was supposed to have been meant for a big or taller player, got a lot of criticism from it. A lot of backlash, a lot of name calling, which could affect with your confidence. Well, at the beginning, it was challenging. It was tough, many days, many nights going home, just crying to my mom and just telling her how cruel the kids are out there and, how mean they were, but she was always just quick to say that it had no idea what basketball was about, but she was quick to say, Ty. I was Ty for her at the time. Ty, don't let them, you know, take your joy. If you like playing basketball, you go out there and play. No one gonna be an expert on your life. They don't know how big your heart or know what your capabilities are. If you want to play, you just go out there and play. And at the time, I didn't know what that meant. I'm like, yeah, okay, mom, but those things didn't register at the time. I just focused more or less on the kids being so mean and cruel towards me, and because I was trying to pursue a game that they thought was meant for taller players. So that was the image that I had back in those days. The hobby turned into a passion. I think once I begot, I think it came around about 10, 11. I started learning the game. I started understanding the game. I was being taught by a gentleman by Leon Howard, who was a director at the Recreation Center. He took myself and Reggie Williams, who was blessed to go on and play in the NBA with as well. One of the four guys coming out of our high school was fortunate enough to play in the NBA. But he and I, as a kid, was just sponges, soaking up all sorts of information from Mr. Howard, who was the director at the Recreation Center. He took us under his wing and he kind of introduced the game in a different light, meaning the fundamentals of the game. And that's really what I needed, how to understand the fundamentals of the game, how to dribble, how to shoot, get it over top of a bigger, taller guy, how to create space, how to run a point guard position, what my responsibilities are at that position. And he really embedded all that information into us. And that's when the game really changed and slowed down in my mind. And I started really believing that, I could play this game one day, possibly go to college. And wasn't thinking about NBA at the time, but it was thinking about possibly going to high school and getting a college education from it. And it means to change the narrative of my family's. Crazy goal. I mean, not knowing it was going to be Division I just wanted to play basketball. Whichever way, if it had been a Division II, I'd probably been satisfied. But knowing the type of kid that I was and who I was and the competitive type of person, I wanted it all. I wasn't just going to satisfy with what someone else had planned for me. I wanted to create my own destiny, and I started to understand that I was in position to do that. And, when I became 12 and 13 years old, words never matter. It came in one ear out the other. I was on a journey. I was on my path trying to become this basketball player that no one felt like he had any opportunity to do so. Because at the time, coaching was still in the mindset of big guards. Big guards was the key of running our program. So we was trying to break down those barriers, trying to, break the mindsets of these coaches, knowing, let them know that, I can be just as impactful, as at this size and run your program and just be just as effective as a taller player. Little kids, I mean, any little jokes that was out there, you're short, you need to be sitting on the curb with your feet swinging off. We can put you in the drawer when we're traveling, As they said, you grown up as a kid when they say sticks and stones may hurt your bones, but words will never hurt you. It's not true. Words will hurt you now and they killing folks. So words are very powerful, very powerful. So the thing is about getting within yourself and understanding who you are to kind of, ward off those negative comments that's coming toward you because, as a kid, you're not as strong, as you are as an adult. So when I was a kid, those things was very hurtful and, that was very deterrent at the time, but it didn't distract me. Because your heart, it measures. It pretty much doesn't have a height to it. It pretty much set the tone of who you are and what you're able to accomplish. And the height factor was the game of basketball. So, my heart was bigger than my height. So I didn't have no second or no hang-ups on believing that I belong with, the best of the best, because my heart was just as big as theirs. Well, I think God created us as he puts you in right in front of you, and I have I never second guess him what he was able to do for me. I think I was born this way, with the idea to take on those type of challenges, to face those type of challenges. The things that happened to me in my life allowed me to reflect and allowed me to, to resonate who I am, especially when I got shot. Those things became so clear in terms of, hey, I almost wasn't here, so why I have to worry about what someone else said that could hurt me and deteriorate me from becoming who I want to be. So, that changed my mindset. I remember early on when I used to go down on the court with my basketball and hearing all the words and hearing all the, the criticism about me being short. But after I got shot, I remember going back down there and hearing those same criticism about myself, but they didn't have the same impact. It went in one ear, out the other, as I alluded to earlier. So I think that had something to do with it. It had a lot to do with my mindset in terms of, what I thought and what I believed, and it allowed me to, enter a platform that, not many was able to accomplish at my height. Oh, adversity always prepare you. You have to go through those things in order to see the light at the end of the light at the end of the tunnel. I don't think anything is gonna just be like this throughout your life. You have to go through that difficult, overcome obstacles. Because it's a testament of your character, of who you are and how you're able to deal with certain things in order to get yourself back on that playing field. Well, once in high school, I think Coach Wade did an amazing job with us young teenagers, preparing us for that next level, that next step, because we had no idea what that next step was. We just wanted to play basketball, but trying to, impounded information to some egotistic young teenagers, it could be difficult. But he was able to get us on that understanding that we're student athletes, we're not athletes. We're student athletes, and the student part was going to allow you to become the athlete that you want to be. And by him, embedding that in our head and understanding the understanding of what we have to do on the court as well as off the court, allowed us to be prepared for college, because you have so much me time in college, where if you don't have that balance and that understanding how to deal with it, you really get lost and really just be focusing on that athletic part of it. And then you get pushed aside because you didn't deal with the academic student part of it. And you weren't able to showcase what you was able to do as an athlete. And by him giving us that understanding, it made it so much easier for us to know that basketball is a time, it's a father time type of thing, but the student part is forever. So once we understood that, a lot of us really was able to, excel in life. I'm 5'3" in college. I didn't grow anymore. I'm still 5'3", from my 9th, 10th, 11th grade all the way up. I stopped growing when I was 9 years old. I mean, in my 9th grade, because I think I was 5'1", and then I got to 5'2", 5'3", but that was the extent of it. No more extension for me in terms of height wise, but 5'3" was it. I knew that I wasn't going to grow much taller. My mom, my dad, my brothers and sisters were short. My dad was only 5'6". My brother was 5'7". He's the tallest of the family. So I knew I was going to be in that 5-foot range in terms of, what the family structure was made of. So I didn't have no hang-ups on wanting to be tall. I never wished I was tall. Kids don't understand that. I never wished I was tall. People don't believe that, but, I never wished I was tall. I just accepted who I was, and, was hurtful that I was getting short jokes and those type of things, but I never wished that I was tall. Each level you move up, you facing tougher and stronger and better players. So, high school, I was able to get through there. College, it was the same situation my freshman year. I came off the bench, had to play behind Danny Young to learn from that. Guys were bigger, stronger. But the talent pool was pretty much equal, that I thought that I was on the same playing field. But just a matter of learning and understanding what that level of that competition was about, and how to understand it, and how to, be accepted amongst these guys now who say, call your teammates, on this collegiate level, which is in the ACC, which is the high, supposed to be the toughest conference, in the land of basketball at the time. A kid coming from the inner city, still 5'3", still being questioned. Okay, he made it on the junior high school level, in elementary, he made it in high school, but now he's facing some bigger, stronger, tougher players that's, no longer, on that high school level. These are almost close to men, that how he's going to compete with these guys. And, for me, it was just a matter of just going out there improving, showcasing what I was capable of doing. Have to change my game in some regards, in terms of have to score more, because you have to keep the offense or the defense, balance-wise, off balance. And understanding that part, because I was small, I was different from all the other players. It felt like I had to adjust to them, but really, they had to adjust to me because they never seen a guy my size playing against them. So, that low to the floor, they had to protect the basketball. So, and me understanding all this, what I'm impacting, how I'm impacting the game, it allowed me to really explore it and really take it to another level, to really start to get up in guys once they got the ball, not at half court, but at 94 feet, as soon as they take it out, and make them work to get across half court. So all those little things that I had to do, that I did, allowed me to be, still impactful and change the game in that regards, to where now my height is not being discussed so much. If you look at whatever your weakness is, you got to try to turn it to a strength, and not let them know that this is a weakness. And the way I had it is, and the way I did it was that, guys see you small, they feel like they could post you up. I was still a strong little guy, but I knew that guards wasn't comfortable playing with their back towards the basket, because they don't have the fat man, the big man type of moves, and it only takes 3-4 seconds in order to play defense, in order for someone to help and for the game to get, the ball to be moved. So having that understanding, having the high IQ of the game, allowed me also to be it'd be very impactful. So where guys couldn't feel like they was taking advantage of me, and it took away from the big guys being down there. So it was more of a disruption of one's game plan, from them trying to go down there and use it to where they trying to take the ball out of the big man hand and give it to a guard, which he's not comfortable doing. So it worked in our favor, in my favor. So having that understanding, I just continue to keep, exploring more and more. I don't care how small, how big you are, if that skill set don't match up with you leading and how you leading, everybody's going to be second guessing you, calling you out. So for me, I gained the respect of the guys because they knew and they felt like I was a true leader. I was leading us in the right direction. I was an extension of the coach. And everything made sense to what I was saying in order for us to be the team that we wanted to be. And, you always recognize, especially at that point guard position, who's effective, how effective he's been and how he's running the team and how effective the team is and how much chemistry that we have with each other, and are we winning, and that's what it all bounds down. Then, we was winning, we had a lot of, everybody was playing their role, and, and it all, that's how the chemistry was able to form, and that's how you gain the respect from the guys. Yeah, Nudie, I tell you, may he rest in peace. He was such a joy to be around. So funny, so entertaining, but such a talented player. I mean, being 7'6", able to block shots, protect the basket the way he was able to do, and not only that, to shoot threes before the threes now starting to become such a very integral part of the game. But he was doing it back then at that size, and he just has such a spirit, such a spirit within him, that it really resonated amongst the team as well as the organization. He was a giving young man. I mean, he went back to Sudan to try to build a school for the folks back there. Some things didn't go well for him, like he wanted to, but he stayed true to himself, and he stayed true to his family and friends, and continue to, to uplift his family. And now we have his son, Bobo, that's, a product of him, that's representing his family, with Denver. So I'm so proud, and I was grateful that I had the opportunity to play with Manute. Well, it is true. Steph Mendel was playing with the Charlotte Hornets, and Steph was very young, about 5 at the time, and he came in the locker room. I gave him like a little airplane ride, because that's how close our families are with each other. But he's been around the game for so long, and he's been, again, soaking up information. We had no idea he was going to be the kid that he is today, but we knew he was talented with the basketball. We knew he could play the game of basketball. Even when he was at Charlotte Christian, playing here, just small, but still able to, put up some good numbers. No big colleges, came at them, recruiting, because they thought his frame was too slender. He was small. He wasn't as tall and strong as his dad, but they knew he could shoot the basketball. But in Virginia Tech, didn't want to give him an opportunity to come and play for him. They wanted to redshirt him the first year. But Davidson saw something in the kid, you know. Maybe not that. They just felt like, hey, he's a kid that has skills, come from great genes, you know, great academic. He's a smart kid. McCollum did his homework and say, hey, kid, we got an opportunity for you to come over here and join our university. Steph looked at it as an opportunity. You know, it may have been a small college, small university, but it's an opportunity. And for him, had that mindset and went on and took on that challenge. Not only did he put the school on the map, but he just kind of reinvigorate this game of basketball with the three ball. Now the three ball became such an art, a very important part of the game now. Not only just at the line, but 5 and 6 feet beyond the line. So he's impacted the game in a whole new way. And with this generation now that's starting to witness this, I mean, that's where the game is today. You know, he's kind of, you know, evolutionized the game now, re-evolutionized this game in terms with the three ball. You know, now every kid think they could come out and just shoot the three ball. You know, I always want to shoot the three ball. You know, that's not where he started. So it's a process to get to that, but that's what he was able to do. And with his brother Seth and playing as well, you know, Def and Sonya did an amazing job with those kids. And their daughter Sadell as well, you know, was a volleyball player. And seeing both on this stage, getting their shine, being able to play, that lets you know, where that talent pool lies, you know, how grateful and, you know, how skillful those guys are. You know, you had the wife, Sonya hit a half-court shot this summer. It was all over the internet. So I'm proud to see those two guys prosper, as well as seeing Dell and Sonya witness it. And it was a you know, a long road for me, you know, building that up to that point, you know, coming after my senior year, being able to go to some of the camps and build your name and put yourself on that conversation that you could possibly be, you know, a first rounder, you know, because at the time I was a second round, late possibly first. And by having success at the camps that we was able to, you know, be invited to, the last one, especially in Chicago, where all the general managers, where all the owners, you know, mainly some of the owners come in and watch the players as opposed to getting the information from their scouts. But, you know, myself and Scottie Pippen at the time was on the same team. You know, both our stocks rose during that camp. He was projected late first, and I was projected late first, early second. You know, he wound up being the 5th player chosen. I wound up being the 12th player chosen. So that's how much our stock had risen from the performance that we was able to put up in Chicago. And that's where, you know, you start to really, you know, understand that, hey, this is real, you know. And the day sitting there, you know, hearing all the names being called, and then that 12th pick and hearing the Washington Bullets select the Tyrone Muggsy Bogues, you know, basically is a place in my backyard where I grew up, being from Baltimore. You know, the weight of the world was lifted off your shoulders that day. You know, you felt like, hey, you know, this is what you've been striving for so long, and having the opportunity to go shake Commissioner David Stern's hand, you know, being eye level with him, and you know, being the first that they would do that, because we had all kinds of small guards come through our league, you know, the Spud Webb, the Michael Adams, didn't get the opportunity to get drafted and go shake the commissioner's hand. So, you know, that was something that meant the world to me, and then meant the world to my family. Well, it changed our complete narrative of my family. You know, we no longer was, you know, in the low income bracket. You know, I was fortunate enough to get my mama, you know, a house, you know, get out the projects, and her and my dad and my sisters and my brothers, and we was able to, you know, live a better life, you know, and where it wasn't as challenging as it was when, you know, when they was growing up. So, so that was something that I was truly proud of, that I was able to do that for our family. And they've been very supportive, you know, every step of the way. So I was so thankful that I was in a position there to do that. Yeah, I don't think it's no different practicing. You know, they have to do what they have to do in order to keep sharpening their skills, and I had to do what I had to do to keep sharpening my skills. Training in the summertime became very rigorously. for me, because of the time frame. I always shut down 2 months after, but after that July, August, you full blown back into training, preparing yourself. I'm lucky for me, I didn't have any major injuries. The only injuries I had was mainly my knee, my cartilage had deteriorated, and then bone on bone became a issue. But I found a way to get through it, finding acupuncture and keeping my hamstrings and quads strong, and I was able to, play 6, 7 more years of basketball. And but that's that was something that you gotta, understand in the NBA. You have to, take care of that body, because that body is a temple, and I look at LeBron, how he's doing, and how Kobe and them did that in terms of off season, how they prepare themselves. And today's it's 365 days. It's nonstop. You don't have an off season anymore, but you have to have that time when you're off to rest your body at a certain point in time to get back into that training, because it's that type of competition that you face, and you want to be ready, night in and night out. Well, the trash talk in the league, it wasn't much for me anyway. You had a lot of guards that talk trash, like the Gary Paytons and those guys, and excuse me, the Reggie Millers and the Michael Jordans and those guys talk a lot of trash, but it was mainly against the guys that they played against. In the Tim Hardaway's at times, but for me, it wasn't much trash talking. They didn't come at me. We had one series where you got now where, or since we got internet, folks are asking me about a trash talker when we played against the Bulls in the series, and they thought that Michael called me a midget, saying that, you little midget. But, those type of things, they don't affect you. It's just the game that we playing, and that, those type of those things that come out, we may call them a black cat, so little things like that, that's part of the game. Those things never really affect you, because, words affect you at this stage in your life. Back then, I mean, imagine what you went through as a kid. So, no, that's just part of the game. You go out there, and some people elevate their game that way in terms of being trash talked. Keep playing. Keep playing. But while you playing, learn all the nuances, all the information that comes with the game of basketball. Don't settle for what someone think that you should be doing. Understand what that position is, because if you're undersized two guard, all right, and you're undersized point guard or you're small guard, then you still have the ability to play the game. It's just a matter of how can I be impactful on that team? What do I need to do to be impactful and not stand out as a liability, and I continue to be an asset? Small guards, it's a place for you everywhere on this court. Undersized players, I should say. I ain't gonna just say small, undersized players, because we had undersized players playing this game all day long. You look at guys who are playing in the NBA, and I say the NBA just for a moment. Draymond Green is undersized, playing his position. You have those type of players that's undersized. You have, who else we got at undersized playing their position? Look at what you have with McCullough and Lillard, two small guards that's playing backcourt, which you don't have the ability to put a 6'6" guy out there with them. But they are very impactful, So don't get discouraged. Don't get distracted in terms of people telling you you're too small. Learn your position. Point guard, whatever that position may be, learn it, understand it. If you're a point guard and you're small, you have to be an extension of the coach. You have to change the game in a way defensively to where it can be very noticeable, so you're not being so taken advantage of. Your ability to create space, your ability to make players around you better, that's a plus. That's a bonus. Your ability to knock down that shot, that's a bonus. That's a plus. That allows you to keep playing and keep being on the floor as long as you want to be. Life, we can't escape anything that goes on with life. We all are not immune to problems, or drama, or trauma, or tragedy. We all here as human beings. So, when you're going through some sort of difficulties, first find out whatever that difficulty may be. For me, I like to pray. I like to give it to the man upstairs and get strength from him. And at the same time, and whatever after we give it to him, we do within your power in terms of how to start slowly, get yourself out of that situation. But for one, you give it to the man, you do all within your power, and you believe, you be optimistic about it. Being negative about a situation, stand in that place, it never helps. It's nothing wrong with understanding that place, feeling bad about it, looking at it for what it is, but don't stay there. You got to get back on that other side and start looking at the resolve, the resolution of it, or how can I get back to feeling good and feeling prosperous again, to where I'm not dealing with this obstacle. Anything is possible. Positive thinking is also translates to that. So when you have something that's positive out there, you can be, the best you can be. When you're negative out there, you could bring down the worst person. Misery loves company. Misery loves company. So we not Debbie Downers. We more uplifters. We always, no matter what the situation is, we're gonna try to look for the outcome, the better of that situation. If we can't find a resolution to get out of it, we're gonna keep on searching to continue to try to find a resolution to get out of it, because that's what you do. That's how you get to the bottom of it. That's how you get to the facts and the answer. Everything happened for a reason. No regrets. All the negative things that happened, I'm thankful for it, because hopefully I learned from those situations. And all the positive things, I'm humbly grateful that those were able to take place, and still striving to be the best I can be. And, going forward, hopefully I can encourage some kid to be the best they can be. As a kid, that's what I had to go through. That's what I did. But keeping that positive message in my head, knowing that I can, and knowing that, no matter what anybody else doing, I believe. And that's what I want every kid to understand, how to feel good about themselves. When you look in that mirror and you look at that reflection back, not like yourself, love yourself. We all have some sort of deficiencies about ourselves. Some are taller than others, some are a little wider than others, some are a little shorter than others, some, a little disinformed than others. But God created us for a reason, and we need to accept that reason, what he was able to create, and not second guess it. Everybody has some sort of opinion about who you are. Don't give them that platform. Don't give them the ammunition. That's their opinion. Don't mean that it's true about who you are. So that's one of the reasons. That's when I want to start this Reach One, Teach One, because I want to make sure that every kid believes in themselves going forward throughout life. We're all human beings. Treat one as you would want to be treated. We got so much diversity going around in this country, in this world right now, that we need to stop and take a step back and just reflect and understand we will want the same thing for our kids that we will want for your kid. And if we have that understanding, then, this world could be a much better place. We get so hung up on, these days in the political side, to where to agree to disagree, to where we can agree to disagree, to agree. So, once we understand that, maybe, we can kind of sit down at a table and really have a conversation about everything that's happening in this world, racism, economics, and so forth. But I think people get blindsided once they get to defend their side and not hearing the other side. So hopefully we can kind of hear both sides, to agree to disagree, but really understand that we all human beings, So that's one of the main messages I would love to get out to everybody that's out there. Yes. Not in the game, but yes, I was able to dunk.